Hey team, we are doing our last notes. We are on Oceania. So, Oceania, formerly known as Australia, it was renamed because having the name after a country was kind of confusing and they didn't feel like it was inclusive to all the other nations that are part of it. Okay. So, what are the regions of Oceania? So, we have Micronesia, we have Melanesia, we have Polynesia, and we have Australasia. Okay. Not to be confusing. So, how large is this continent? It is the smallest in land area and the second smallest in population. Antarctica being the smallest in population. So, which is which and where is where? So, I'm going to show you the map first and then I'll come back and explain. Okay, so here's Australia proper, and then we've got it kind of divided into chunks. So, Micronesia is a lot of itty bitty islands, Polynesia is a lot of itty bitty islands, and then we've got Melanesia, which is like some bigger islands, and then teeny tiny islands. Okay, so it's mostly just islands, and then they just divided them into chunks. And how they did that was somewhat based on history, and somewhat based on culture, and somewhat based on just what made sense. Okay, so Micronesia is made up of thousands of small islands in the Western Pacific. And then we've got Melanesia in the southwestern Pacific. And then Polynesia is over 1,000 islands scattered all over central and southern Pacific. But again, I mean, they're all pretty close together. Okay. And then Australasia is made up of Australia, New Zealand, and a few neighboring islands. Okay. All right. So just to highlight more, here is Micronesia. Okay, here is Melanesia. Here is Polynesia. And here we go. So what is the climate like? Well, most Pacific islands are tropical or subtropical. So that means that they're hot and they're humid. That means that their temperatures aren't changing much throughout the year. And that really from daytime to nighttime, it's not changing much either. Okay. Because a lot of these islands, well, all of these islands are found in warmer waters, a lot of their temperatures are regulated throughout the day. So the ocean absorbs heat, but it lets heat go more slowly than land. So that helps to regulate a lot of temperatures. Okay. Australia, the biggest chunk of land out there, does have deserts and some islands that have milder weather. But seasons here in Oceania are mostly measured by rainfall and not temperature. So they have a rainy season and a dry season, as opposed to the spring, summer, fall, winter rotation that we're used to here in Minnesota. Natural resources here are varied. It really depends on the island, and it really depends on what they've cultivated there. So there is some mining, and there's lots of lumber on different places. So the beans that turn into delicious chocolate, cocoa, or cacao, depending on how you pronounce it, that is grown here because we need hot places and sunny sun. Sugar, so sugarcane, and then fishing. There's a lot of fishing that happens here. And again, natural resources vary from place to place. What is the economy like? The countries of Australia and New Zealand are the only ones who have what is considered a highly developed nation or economy. They have like big business, they have industry, they're building things on a massive scale. And a lot of the other islands have smaller economies, like one that's just on their island and it's just about what they need, or they're only trading with other local islands. And a lot of the economy there is based on tourism. So it's based on people coming to the island to stay on the island. A lot of people work in tourism. And then there's a lot of people who work in education and financial services. Those are the other big economic items in this part of the world. What are some struggles here? One big struggle, like most of the places that we have looked at, is significant changes that happen to their ways of life because of the arrival of Europeans. So colonization, when Europeans came in and they took over a lot of things. They changed the way of life. They changed languages and religion and social structures. And so a big struggle is trying to get back to their roots and trying to get back to their heritage and trying to have those things be at the forefront. They're trying to have economic growth that isn't based on tourism. So how do we grow our economy and work on building things and making things and trading things that don't just have to do with people visiting? And like I said, restoration of culture that was just stamped out by European occupation is one thing that they are actively working towards. Do not forget your 3 sentence